I'm Kate Hahn with TV Guide Magazine and TV Insider, and we're here with The Buzz on YELLOWJACKETS, speaking with Sophie and Nélisse about that shocking episode 2. So, Sophie, when you first read that scene where the girls were deciding to actually eat Jackie, it seemed like Shauna kind of gave permission for everyone to do that. How did you feel when you first read that in the script?
I thought it was so interesting. I never thought Shauna would be the first one or the one giving the sort of approval or okay. So I was quite surprised, but I guess it does make sense, and especially after I read episode 1, where she kind of eats the ear. I was like, it makes sense, but I thought it was really cool. I was expecting her to get more so bullied into doing it, but I think part of Shauna, since Jackie's death, feels this sort of weight that's been lifted off her shoulders. And although she's been trying to hold on to Jackie's essence and friendship and trying to keep her alive, I do think that part of her wants to put an end to the story and wants Jackie to be gone for real in some way. And so I think that I think there's something sort of ceremonial or something quite strong that she's the one that's really making the decision that okay, we will finally put Jackie behind us. And yeah, I think it's kind of cool and twisted and works with how dark the show is.
So what was it like shooting that scene? What were you actually eating? Were you covered with special effects blood? Talk about shooting it. Seems like it was a big challenge to shoot.
It was very bizarre. We were eating it was like rice paper rolls, but like it was when you pulled on it, it was quite chewy and elastic in some way. And it was jackfruit. But there was something, I mean, the whole rest of the body was made out of like silicone, or I don't know. So it had this sort of plastic smell to it, and it was really hard for us to disassociate and to even though what we were eating was actually quite yummy, the body looked so real that it was hard for us to not like gag or almost want to puke as we were doing the scene. But we really just committed to it and went full out. And then it was really fun to also do the sort of parallel or the imaginary version of it, where we're all dressed in like these dresses and this like Roman table has been set out in front of us. And it's so out of character. Like we are now in like these beautiful dresses and makeup and gold jewelry when we're used to being dressed up in like dirt. It felt like we were shooting a completely different show for a second. But it was so fun to shoot. But even that scene, which we went into it thinking we'd be eating grapes and strawberries and cheese, by the end of the scene, we were all like completely feral and just grabbing at whatever we saw, grabbing whatever we could get on the table. And it was so chaotic by the end that I was literally just grabbing out of Courtney's plate, who was on my right side. And I was just grabbing what she had literally already ate and spat out, and shoved back out in her plate. And I couldn't really see, and I was putting it in my mouth, and I was like, as I was putting it in my mouth, I was like, no, this is pre-chewed food, it's disgusting. But then I was just so in character that I was like, just go with it, and shoving wine down my face. And it was just, they called cut, and we were dripping in wine with like bits of hair and bits of food in our hair, and it was absolutely disgusting. I think I showered twice that night.
Was that the most feral you've ever gotten on shooting with everybody?
No, there's when we reach the end of the episode, we get a little more crazy.
A little more crazy. Was there one person who everybody had to kind of coach through that? You said you were gagging and it was hard to do. Was there somebody you guys had to say, okay, we're going to help you get through this scene, it's too hard?
I think Samantha Henriette, who plays Misty, she's a vegan, and I think anything that looks like real meat she's really sensitive to. She also has a lot of allergies, And I think she puked for real, actually, and we were like, come on, Sammy, you could do it. And she was like watching us, almost crying. But yeah, I think that this was what is really fun about our cast, is that we all have to live through these experiences together. So we're always there kind of hyping each other up, and getting each other through these hard scenes.
Well, you mentioned sitting next to the actress who plays Lottie at the banquet. What is their relationship? Shauna and Lottie seem to have some interesting moments in this episode too. Can you talk about their relationship?
Yeah, I think Shauna, out of every character, is the one that's the most on the fence about the whole spiritual cult situation that's going on. I think she's more rational, and I even though she's started to eat an ear, I think she's trying to hold on to like the most rational side that she has. And I also think she just finds Lottie a little creepy, and I think there's like, she has this instinct inside of her that's screaming like, don't trust her, or that she's up to something not good, or that she's not leading us in the right direction. And so I think as the season progresses, we're definitely going to see that relationship evolve into, yeah, I think the more scary Lottie gets, the more Shauna doesn't trust her and doesn't want to partake in this whole like woo-woo situation. I mean, it's a curious choice to, I don't know why they put Lottie next to me in those scenes. I think it's just Courtney and I are such good friends in real life that we, every scene, we, even though our characters don't especially like each other, we tend to just like, we don't think about our characters and we'll be like, come next to me. I don't think there was any like specific seating plan within those scenes. I think it's just Courtney and I did them together.
The scenes at the top of the episode where your character's with Jackie in the cold room where they store the bear meat, and we first see them talking, and it's, you know, we think, what's going on here? But then you have to interact with this dummy. I mean, you as an actress have to later interact with this frozen dummy version of Jackie, putting makeup on her. Talk about what that was like.
It was so interesting because, I mean, Ella was there, but sometimes she was just doing her offlines, off camera. It was nice to have Ella there to be able to like, so I could do the scene, and then just try to redo the same thing without an actual person. And it just looked so strange, and I could totally feel the eeriness that Shauna must have felt, or would feel, because the dummy did really look like Ella, but like this weird dead version of Ella, but it's like the full body is still there. And so it was really interesting to play, and it was just the chemistry in those scenes are it's been so weird not having Ella on set with us, because she was just such a core member of our group, and Ella's the kind of person that really, you know, soaks up all the energy in the room, and is and draws everyone's attention. So it definitely feels like she's left a hole or like a gap this season, not being there anymore. And so I think I just missed her so much, and having her shoot these scenes, it was like I knew she was gonna leave after these scenes, and it was this weird, again, chemistry. We could feel it in the scene when we were shooting it, Ella and I, that it was this like sadness that was underlying every scene.
Right. Mirroring also Shauna finally letting go of Jackie. So, but it also seems like in those scenes, you know, she's imagining what Jackie's saying. Is she kind of creating the worst Jackie imaginable so she'll have permission to eat her?
I don't think she's creating a bad version of Jackie. I think she's just conflicted in the way she feels. I think, like I said earlier, I think part of her is feels this weight that's been lifted off her shoulders since Jackie's death. And so I think she's conflicted between wanting to keep her alive, and I think this is why she makes up these imaginary conversations with her, but also I think it's kind of her unconscious that's like every conversation she has with her kind of turns sour. And I think that's her unconscious telling her, like, no, you have to let go. You need to find your own voice and your own path, and you can't rely on her anymore. And I think that's why Jackie always turns out so mean. It's because part of her wants to finally let go of her.
Easier to let go of her if she's appearing to be that way. Yeah. So Shauna's pregnancy has also progressed quite a bit. Tell us what it was like the first time you put on that pregnancy belly. Had you ever played a pregnant character before?
I had never played a pregnant character before. It was really, I was quite thankful for that belly, because it's actually quite heavy. And it gets in the way of your body language and the way you sit down. And so it made it, for me, just feel so much more realistic, and naturally my hands would kind of drift to my belly. And it felt like I was genuinely carrying someone. And yeah, it just affected the way I moved, the way I sat down, the whole energy of my character, I think. So it was really nice to be able to play something I've never gotten to play before.
Right. And how terrified is Shauna at this point about giving birth in the wilderness?
I think it's the most terrified she's ever been. I mean, she was already very scared, obviously, in the first season, but I think with the stakes that are so much higher now, with the cold outside, with the, I mean, there's still potentially hope that they would get saved in the first season, but now she knows that she's going to have to undergo this procedure on her own. And I mean, she's malnourished. There's no professional help. So I think I think giving birth is already so terrifying. I don't think it gets any more scarier than the situation Shauna's been put in.
And is there someone she gets close to now that Jackie's gone and she can finally let go of her? Is there a girl that she gravitates towards? Is there a friendship that's budding?
I think it's been interesting this season because I think it's the most alone Shauna's ever been. I think there's this relationship with Taissa that's been built slowly in the first season. But I think with Taissa now, I think slightly beginning to lean towards Lottie's cult. Not that because she believes it, but I think just because she needs something to hold on to, and wants to make Van happy. I think she's starting to slowly lose Thais's friendship, and I think she just feels like she can't relate to anyone that's out there, and no one is going through what she's going, and no one's been through the loss that she's had. So I think she just feels like she can't relate, and no one can relate to her. And yeah, it's a very isolating feeling.
Yeah, and there are a lot of your lines in this episode that make that really clear, where she says, "You've no idea what I'm going through. You don't know how I'm feeling." Is it challenging to play this stage in her life as an actress, or is it exciting?
Both. I mean, it's definitely challenging because, I mean, obviously to some extent, I can't really draw from personal experience because I've never been put in that situation. I can only imagine how I would react. But it's also fun to be able to, play a character that I think a lot of people can relate to, and she conveys such a wide range of emotion. And I think, yeah, a lot of people, she speaks to a lot of people because I think she's strong. I think she has undergone just so much already, and I've been lucky to have such a beautiful and loving upbringing, but I think she's definitely been living in Jackie's shadow and has not always felt really understood. And I think now undergoing all these traumatic situations, I think it's this show touches a lot of sensitive subject like abortion. I mean, I feel so honored to be able to portray such a scene because I know that women in my age have been through that, and it's a very hard situation to be put in. But again, it's very challenging because we wanted to treat pregnancy and abortion with such respect and humility, and to honor every woman that's had to go through that in their life.
Well, I'm curious what the conversations are with, there's so many young women that you're working with, and you have a lot of scenes together. You're together a lot.
Mhm.
What are some of the things you talk about offset? Does this spark conversations with you?
I think we try to keep it pretty light offset, honestly, because what we're going through is so dramatic. I think we try to joke around. We have this like group text where we'll send each other memes, and just joke about a bunch of things. And we like to pull pranks on each other on set. Courtney was obviously my closest friend, and we would just have this like eye contact whenever we needed to vent or to just blow some steam off or get our mind off of things. We would like look at each other, and I knew and she knew, and we, after the take or between setups, would like run to my trailer and just need to decompress together. I know Sammy and Kevin and Alexa would all bring like video games to their trailers, and they would play video games in their trailer. Yeah, we kept it pretty fun between two.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Do you have a favorite Yellow Jackets meme?
Oh yeah, I've never seen a Yellow Jacket meme. I wish
Oh,
no, I
okay.
haven't. I mean, I see a bunch of like the fans are really amazing, and they're so committed, and they make all these like montages with like pictures and videos from the show. I don't know if there's like a meme that I've seen. I would like to. I would like to see some memes. I love memes.
Okay, so everybody listen to that. Sophie wants to get a Yellow Jackets meme, so I think you might be flooded with them after this airs.
I would love to.
Well, Sophie, thank you so much for speaking with me for the buzz on Yellow Jackets, and more exciting things to come.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the audience to see the rest of the season. It gets just more chaotic, crazier, darker, everything they're asking for.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.